Welcome back to Back in My Day, the Graham family podcast where three generations gather, sometimes with sombreros, sometimes with wedding dress, to talk movies and what they meant to us then and now. We'd like to thank everyone for all of the feedback and kind words of support from our first two episodes, both of which can be found on our website, backinmydaypod.com. This is our first episode of 2026, and as a reminder, I'm your host, Mark Graham, proud Gen Xer, over-quoter of 80s comedies, and a man who proudly possesses a plethora of piñatas. Joining me are my co-hosts, Meghan, our millennial cusper and resident de-escalation expert who keeps the circus on the rails, Max, our 12-year-old who's right in that sweet spot where movies feel huge and life-changing, and Zach in My Day, our 9-year-old mascot, and that makes no sense officer. And together,
we argue about your movie picks.
And we decide if they still hold up.
I say if something's weird or not.
this is
Back in My Day. Tonight is a Martin double feature with two movies starring the 90s and today's favorite boomer duo, Steve Martin and Martin Short. First up is Three Amigos, starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Chevy Chase, as three out-of-work actors who accidentally become real-life heroes in a Mexican village. Then we're pairing it with Father of the Bride, where a dad charmingly spirals through the comedic chaos of his daughter's wedding.
So, on one side, we've got mistaken identity mayhem and singing bush slapstick, and on the other, it's parental panic, backyard basketball, and swans in the front yard.
Tonight we're asking, what holds up, what age like Steve Martin's 70s tuxedo, and did this movie kick off the entire wedding industrial complex as we know it? Does Father of the Bride still feel cozy or a little cringe? Is Three Amigos still funny or a little unhinged? And which one plays better through Gen Alpha's eyes?
We'll break down both movies, trade trivia and behind-the-scenes nuggets, and, as always, get final verdicts from Max and Zach on what kids today should watch. All right, everybody, let's saddle up and set the table. We're going to start today with my pick, which is Three Amigos. Max, why don't you tell us what this movie is all about?
So basically, the movie starts with this girl, Carmen, who lives in Mexico in this village called Santa Poco. And she goes into town to watch a movie. And she sees these three guys, Three Amigos. And since her village is being attacked by the monstrous El Guapo, she decides to call them up because she thinks they're real-life heroes and they would help her. So, and then we cut to the Three Amigos, who are Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short, as you know. And there are three actors in Hollywood who have just been fired from their jobs and are now out of work. So they get the call from Carmen, and since they're desperate, they go down to Mexico thinking, oh, what could it be? It's just going to be another acting gig. So they meet Carmen, and they go down to Santa Poco, but then they figure out that it's not an acting gig. It's an actual battle, and they get shot at, and they run away, super scared, and then Carmen gets captured by El Guapo. But then they feel bad, and they feel determined, and they go to El Guapo's lair, defeat him, save Carmen, and go back to Santa Poco and our heroes in real life, not just on the big screen.
Great. So, Mark, why did you pick this movie today?
Because it's a classic? No. This is one of my favorite movies from the 1980s. Part of the reason why I picked it is we've had this rubric that we set up from the very beginning of this podcast where we try to pick movies that were popular when I was 12 years old, when you were 12 years old, because Max is currently 12 years old. This was a huge, huge hit. This was originally released in December of 1986, but was top 10 at the box office in January of 1987. This is January 2026, so it's 39 years ago at this point. It was a movie I endlessly rewatched and have shown Max and Zach multiple times before we're prepping for this podcast. It's one of my all-time faves.
So, does the movie hold up?
I believe so. I don't know.
think
What
so.
do you think, Max?
I thought it was still pretty funny, and yeah, I'd watch it again.
Oh, and also, let's leave some time for the Three Amigos salute.
Ho!
So none of you minded that this movie takes place in Mexico and is 95% in English?
I didn't mind that. I thought it was really funny. I thought that it was surprisingly authentic feeling. I think with a lot of movies that you see today, you can clearly tell they were shot on a sound stage. They were shot on a green screen somewhere. This movie, the production hours went crazy. They went bananas. They created a couple whole villages. They blew things up in real life. I don't know. It felt really authentic, the setting and time place to me.
Well, this director has gotten in trouble a few times for actually injuring people on set, right?
That's absolutely true. This movie was directed by John Landis, who is famous from Animal House, of course. But just before this movie, he made Twilight Zone, the movie. If you don't know what happened on that set, one of the actors was killed on set by a helicopter that crashed. And during the course of the filming of this movie and post-production, the director of that movie, John Landis, was on trial trying to figure out what was going on in this. He was ultimately found not guilty, but still a lot of craziness hanging over this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit convenient that everyone in this village, that I don't think any of them ever leave the village, they all speak perfect English, and they have
really
the
good
money.
at sewing.
But they have the money for a giant party once they defeat El Guapo, but they don't have the money to, like, pay him off or get actual heroes. Like Carmen's
Actual heroes.
she doesn't have enough money to send a full telegraph, and they have fireworks, giant piñatas, decorations, everything. Like,
Well, there are a few plot holes in this one, and it's definitely written through a gringo lens. Max, you're taking Spanish right now. Do you know what Santo Poco means?
I know Poco means a little bit, but I don't know what.
Well, it means holy little, which is a weird name for a town. And El Guapo, do you know what that means?
Handsome.
Yeah,
The
so
handsome?
the villain was named the handsome one.
He probably named himself El Guapo,
Do you
don't
guys
you
think
think?
he was handsome?
I mean, like for then, yes, but now,
Not
no.
really.
Okay. So 80s handsome?
Yes.
No.
You were commenting on some people's teeth while we were watching this.
Yeah, they did not know how to brush their teeth. It's like they were pirates. They had yellow teeth straight up. They're like,
Yeah.
"Ew."
There were a lot of stereotypes in this movie. I wonder if you think this could be made today.
Probably not.
How come?
Just because you like, I don't know. It just feels like it would get canceled.
Right. Having all the Mexican cast walking around with giant bottles of tequila seemed like a weird choice.
Sure, but it's a slapstick comedy. It was never going for realism, quote unquote. I know I just was throwing flowers at the production design of this, but as the movie progresses, it starts off really real and starts to get more and more fake, which is really interesting. There's that whole scene in the desert, which is clearly against the painted backdrop, but I think that's part of the comedic genius of this movie.
No.
This movie,
I think it was just a low budget.
it was pretty well budgeted, but this movie was
Say what you want.
It was written by Steve Martin, Lorne Michaels, who is the guy who founded Saturday Night Live. He met Steve Martin in the 70s. He met Chevy Chase in the 70s. It was also co-written by Randy Newman, the famous songwriter, Oscar-winning songwriter, who did all of the original songs for this movie. Also, I don't know. It probably couldn't be made in exactly the same way, but I think that's part of why it holds up and is interesting to watch from the perspective of today's kids. Would you say so?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, interestingly, Chevy Chase has said he wants to do a sequel. Steve Martin, Martin Short have not taken him up on that. And before this was the trio, it was supposed to be filmed with potentially Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, who unfortunately passed before they could film. But what did you think of the trio? Do you have a favorite amigo?
Not really. They all kind of had the same personality.
I kind of liked Ned Needle-Tender
Yeah.
because he was just so funny all the time. Like when he was hanging from the thing, like his thighs were stick to that piñata hard, and then he just stuck there when no one was there, but then he fell when everyone was there.
Yeah.
My favorite of the three amigos was Dusty Bottoms, who is portrayed by Chevy Chase. I don't know. I lived through the entire 1980s. There were obviously some huge comedic forces in the 80s. There was Eddie Murphy. There was Robin Williams. There was, of course, Steve Martin. But Chevy Chase, out of all of those guys, was my favorite then and is still my favorite today. Of course, this movie, I think, it's a pretty good showcase for him. He shares a lot of the spotlight, but in movies like Caddyshack, Chevy Chase was a great. Fletch is one of my all-time favorites. even his sort of lesser movies like Deal of the Century or Spies Like Us, they still get me. Chevy Chase's delivery. I know he's been in the news a lot lately for, let's say, some of his bad behavior over the years. He's not well liked by a lot of people. I think still liked by Martin Short, who was in the documentary with him. But Chevy Chase, I think, is a shining star of the 80s and my number one comedic guy of that entire era.
Yeah, rewatching it, I really enjoyed Martin Short in it. In the 90s, I did not think he was very funny. I found him kind of annoying in a lot of things. And rewatching both of these movies, I really was appreciating what he contributed.
I think he was, this was Martin Short's first movie. So he had also been on Saturday Night Live, which is another reason I think I really like this movie. You guys know I make you guys watch Saturday Night Live every Sunday morning when we wake up. But I've been doing that since I was a little kid. Martin Short was on Saturday Night Live in 1985, which is how Lorne Michaels first sort of became aware of him. Martin Short, big star in Canada. He had this character who was a real nerd on Saturday Night Live called Ed Grimley. I dressed up as him for Halloween in 1985. True story. But I do think Martin Short was so great in this because he was really deferential. It was his first movie. Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, both monster stars. So I think he played it closer to the vest than he usually does, a little bit less outlandish than usual.
And I wonder if there are any gags that you really liked from this movie.
I liked
guys?
when they shot the invisible swordsman.
Yeah.
Pew, pew. And then he just gets shot and dies. And they're just like, welp.
No, I liked when Lucky was in the jail because he was like, almost there. My back.
Yeah, it was sort of a strange jail where
Like, why would they let him escape and put the keys right there when it was hard to pull those weights, but possible.
All you need is a little bit of going to the gym. Squat 20, good. I mean, squat 200. I meant to say 200. You're good.
Well, I think that's another one of the great things about this movie, frankly, is it's a really good mix of physical comedy. Steve Martin and Chevy Chase, again, two of the best physical comedians of all time, certainly of this era. This definitely gives Steve Martin the opportunity to really play that card that's in his wheelhouse. But it's also, I think, a really, really great movie for one-liners and movie quotes. Max and Zach, do you guys ever quote movies or TV shows these days?
Sometimes. I mostly quote memes, though.
Only at our house. Yeah, baby, yeah, from Austin Powers.
you did like Austin Powers.
Well, you just said memes. Back in my day, movie quotes were kind of the memes of the day. Memes did not exist. The internet did not exist. But what did exist were movies and TV shows that we would certainly watch in the theater, but we would also bring home on VHS. Or this movie I watched over and over and over again on HBO. The choices were a lot more limited, but movie lines and one-liners in this one, it's one of my favorite one-liners. There's so many great ones in this one. There's, "You scum-sucking pigs, you sons of a motherless goat." There's the famous one where the woman is talking to Chevy Chase, and she says, "Will you kiss me on the veranda?" He goes, "Lips will be fine." That's kind of an adult one I really like. Do you have anything besides Mexican food? That's an all-time classic. Steve Martin going, "Whippoorwill, whippoorwill." I don't know. All of those, again, me and my friends said those over and over again, particularly my friend Chris Glinka, who's kind of like the Chevy Chase of my friend group. I think he would appreciate that reference.
In that he's your most controversial friend.
Certainly, yes.
Yeah, I think my favorite was when the girl said, "I like the one who is not so smart," and the other one said,
Which one?
"Which one is that?" Speaking of quotes, should we play the clip that you brought?
Sure, let's play the clip.
Someday the people of this village will have to face El Guapo. We might as well do it now.
In a way, all of us have an El Guapo to face someday. For some, shyness might be their El Guapo. For others, a lack of education might be their El Guapo. For us, El Guapo is a big dangerous guy who wants to kill us. But as sure as my name is Lucky Day, the people of Santa Poco can conquer their own personal El Guapo, who also happens to be the actual El Guapo.
What a great clip.
Good choice.
Thank you. I don't know. I picked this clip because it's a real classic movie moment. You know, the inspirational speech, but it also shows.
For us, a guapo is actually a guapo.
It just sort of shows what kind of buffoons the three amigos are. You know, Carmen says this line that's really sweet and succinct, like, El Guapo's coming, we got to get ready. And then Steve Martin goes into full movie star mode, over embellishing, really not totally know what he's saying, but really wants to hog the moment and feel his movie star moment. That's why I picked it. That's why I really liked it. I don't know. I thought it was really indicative of the whole movie. And again, a great speech. Steve Martin, just king of the 80s.
Excellent. So I'm curious, would you boys watch this movie again on your own or tell your friends to watch it?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't watch it by myself, but I mean, if we wanted to watch it again, I'd probably watch it.
Yeah, I'd watch it with you guys.
What's your rating?
I would rate this one 4 out of 5 Zacks.
I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Do you think you'd ever show it to any of your friends?
Maybe.
Do you think any of your friends would like it?
Maybe. I don't know.
How about you, Zach? Would any of your friends like it? Do you guys ever watch movies together or just meme stuff?
I'm not one of those YouTube kids. Sometimes we watch movies at sleepovers, so maybe we would watch this if one of my friends, Ethan's baby brother Jack, was up for it. Because one time we watched Godzilla X Kong, and then his baby brother kept hitting me and scratching my eye.
Okay.
Maybe that's why you don't watch movies very much. I don't know.
Thanks for the fun fact, I guess.
Shout out, baby Jack.
One other thing from this movie that I really liked that I picked up, I did not pick up when I was a kid, but I picked up now, rewatching it this time, was the fact in the very beginning of the movie as you were setting up, Carmen, their town's being attacked. She goes to church and she watches a movie of the Three Amigos in church. I think that's really interesting. You know, cinema as church. I know I spent a lot of my years before you guys were around going to movies on Sundays when a lot of other people were actually at church. So I just really liked and appreciated that little nugget in there that movies are so reverential. They hold such power. They can convince people that things that are make-believe are really happening in real life. And I thought that was just a really cool little nugget about this movie that I didn't get when I was too busy laughing and quoting one-liners when I was little.
That's great. I really like to see John Lovitz and Phil Hartman in a little cameo as movie executives that trash them and ruin their career.
You know what trivia I learned?
What?
Researching this?
What?
Neither John Lovitz nor Phil Hartman were on Saturday Night Live at the time when this movie was made. Lorne Michaels discovered them on set. They were both in the Groundlings in LA, famous comedy troupe, and that's what propelled them to be on Saturday Night Live.
Fascinating. Lorne Michaels was a real kingmaker. Still today.
Still is today. Well, that was our chat about Three Amigos.
Wait, let's do one last Amigos move. Everyone with me.
Oh!
Nicely done, Zach. Thanks for leading us in there. Okay, so our second movie today is Father of the Bride, a 1991 movie. Megan, why did you pick Father of the Bride?
Well, I was trying to follow your rules, and we almost watched Mighty Ducks, which is also a great movie that came out in January of 1992. But then you loosened things so that I could also pick something that was a hit in the box office this month in 1992. And Father of the Bride was a real classic in my house. And this is the Steve Martin that I grew up with. I know he's had a few different phases, and Steve Martin as a dad in this and Parenthood was really the one that I knew. So I don't think I saw Three Amigos until much later. I didn't know about 70s Steve Martin and that great, wild and crazy guy. But this is, a big part of growing up for me was Dad Steve Martin.
So what's Father of the Bride about, Max?
So Steve Martin obviously is the main character, and his daughter comes back from studying abroad in Italy, and she's talking all about this guy she met and how they're going to be getting married. And Steve Martin's like, "What? Excuse me?" But yeah, so they decided that they're going to be together, and he doesn't like the guy, but he has to go through all the shenanigans, like meeting him, going over to the in-laws. They have to go over to the wedding planner, and throughout the whole time, the price for the wedding just keeps going up and up because the guy that's orchestrating the whole wedding, he's like, oh, we need swans in the front yard, and we need a valet to have it at your house. And then they're like, okay. So a whole bunch of shenanigans ensue, and they get to the day of the wedding, and he's pretty happy because he only paid a full price for the essential stuff. He got like 2 valets, a couple of swans, and they're going about through all of it, and he hears police sirens, and they say, hey, your valet's parked all these cars wrong. You gotta move them. So he has to move all the cars, and it takes a really long time, but they get back inside, and he missed the first dance with his daughter. And the house is full of people, and he doesn't get to see his daughter until she leaves for the honeymoon. And he doesn't see her at all. But then he's pretty sad, but he calls her, and yeah, they make up, and the movie ends there.
Oh, and I have one comment.
Yeah.
So when the valet parked all the cars wrong, the main character let 2 kids drive all the cars and trucks. Would you let me and Max do that? No. If we were there?
Would I let you 2 drive my cars?
If it was the
Never.
80s.
It was the 90s, man.
It was the 90s, man. Maybe. I will say that my brother, Adam, drove my parents' car in our driveway once and crashed it into another car. So
how old was he?
Probably about Zach's age.
Oh my goodness.
I would guess.
Well, I mean, like if you only had 30 minutes before you went to jail on your daughter's wedding, you would let us drive, right?
Well, I have both of you remember this. I have offered to let you drive the car when we go to Carvel and back. You sit on my lap and I control the gas and you guys steer the wheel, and you never want to do it. You're both scared you'll get caught by the police.
No, it's only that. It's because I mean, I only don't want to.
So there's some false bravery here.
There's no time because I know how to drive, but there were no turns, so I wouldn't have to turn the wheel. But then I would be able to And
well,
then
anyway.
Yeah. So Meghan, obviously, Steve Martin is kind of the main character of this movie, but I don't know. Kimberly Williams, her first movie ever. What did you think of her then and also now?
I mean, I thought the casting was great. Watching this movie the first time, I definitely did not really track that she was 21 years old when she got engaged, which feels pretty young to me. I don't know what you guys all thought about that. But I thought she just played the perfect daughter. And then I was just really smitten with Diane Keaton's performance this whole movie. She's just so great. Watching, it's kind of Steve Martin's movie. He's the title character. He's, got all these great reaction shots and freak outs and all this stuff, but she just plays every single note so well as sort of a foil to him, which I think is amazing. And we just recently lost her, so it was really great to watch this now.
Same. I feel the same about Diane Keaton in this. You're right. She doesn't have a lot of lines. She doesn't really have any big speeches. Again, it's mostly Steve and Kimberly Williams' movie, but she has so many reaction shots. And she, to your point, just note perfect in every single one and just looks stunning throughout the whole thing.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's why I chose the clip that I brought. We can watch it.
Let's roll that clip.
I thought you didn't believe in marriage. I thought it meant that a woman lost her identity. I thought you wanted to get a job before you settled down so you could earn money and be your own person.
All right, hold on. I didn't think I believed in marriage until I met Brian. I mean, Brian's not like any other guy I've ever known. I want to be married to him. And I'm not going to lose my identity with him because he's not some overpowering macho guy. I mean, he's like you, Dad. Except he's brilliant. He happens to love the fact that I want to be an architect. He wants me to design a house for us to live in. He said he'd move anywhere I got a job. Give me a little credit, George. I'm not going to marry some ape who wants me to wear go-go boots and an apron. I'm telling you, you'll love him. He's a genius. And sweet. And I love him more than anything in the world.
What does Brian do?
Who's Brian?
Great clip.
Thanks. So, we see this moment of the bride telling her parents and the father of the bride freaking out, but you can see throughout this conversation as he's getting more and more upset, Diane Keaton is just like so won over by the excitement that her daughter is feeling. And she's getting, more and more into the moment and excited for her and then reacting to his kind of inopportune responses. She just gets it every single second.
Dad, a question for you. If you were in the bathroom, would you touch the bank card? Because they probably had a couple $1 million in their bank account.
It's a different scene.
I don't think I ever snooped through your mom's parents' house when we were dating. I never did that once. I would never do that.
Well, you weren't the father of the bride.
This is true.
Did your dad do it?
Very possibly. We'll have to ask him after
my
the show.
dad. I gotta ask my dad. My dad is the only father of bride. That was the one thing that's a little tricky about this movie is, we have boys, so we'll never be in that situation.
You'll be the father of the husband.
Father of the groom. Would that be a good movie?
Father of the Groom. I would watch that for sure. This was a remake, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that. There was a Father of the Bride movie in the 1950s. I've never seen it. Have you seen it, Megan?
I don't think so.
Liz Taylor is the little girl in that one. It was one of her big star-making roles. There was also a sequel to this movie in 1995, Father of the Bride Part 2.
And Part 3.
There actually was a Part
was.
3 that I learned. Why don't you tell us about it?
Oh, so Nancy Meyers, during the pandemic, decided to try and see how the Banks family would respond during the pandemic. And so they filmed Father of the Bride 3-ish.
I never saw it. We should track it down. I looked for it today, but it's not on Netflix anymore. We'll have to check out to see where it is. But, you just mentioned, Megan, that Annie gets married or engaged when she's 21, gets married when she's 22 in this movie. That seems pretty young. Boys, have you ever thought about getting married? What do you think a good age that you might want to get married one day is, if you want to get married or not?
Mid-20s, probably.
Mid-20s? How about you,
Early
Zach?
30s.
30.
30?
Because I don't want to get married as soon as I can start drinking alcohol.
Okay.
Because no one wants to drink 21 shots of alcohol on their 21st birthday.
And that's related how?
I don't know, 21 alcohol.
How does that relate to getting married?
I would probably be crazy. So,
You think you'll only be crazy when you're 21?
but that'll be my more crazy stage
And
of
now.
adult.
Oh, got it.
Max, you were talking earlier about the wedding coordinator, Franck, as played by Martin Short in this movie. I was a little nervous when I watched this. I hadn't watched this movie since the 90s, and we just watched it last weekend in preparation for this. I thought it might be problematic of a performance. I don't know. What did you think of Franck here in 2026, Megan?
I think when I first saw this, I found him really annoying, but watching it back, I found it really charming.
I thought it was funny for the first, his accent was funny for the first scene he was in, but after that, it just felt annoying. I had to really pay attention when he was talking. It was just kind of annoying.
Oh, and it was kind of funny to me because it would have been really confusing to be that dad. What did he say?
But they're such a good duo. I mean, there's the duo of Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton has great chemistry with everyone, but also Steve Martin and Martin Short just have amazing chemistry together, and watching them play off of one another is just really fun.
Totally agree. And again, I was relieved that again, I thought it might tip a little into problematic zone. I didn't.
Well, what
feel that way.
ethnicity was
It was
he?
definitely annoying.
Do we know? Was he German? Was he?
I don't know. He was just sort of vaguely European-ish. He was a little bit like Bronson Pinchot's character in Beverly Hills Cop with a weird accent. Maybe he's gay, maybe he's not. It's really just kind of up there. He was very flamboyant and very hilarious. But I'm glad to hear that you didn't think he was cringy, right?
I mean, he was annoying.
Okay.
He was tolerable.
In his day. but back in
Sure.
your day, he was the funniest guy.
And you know that
Probably.
personally? Yes, I'm a connoisseur of Prime Martin Short. I've seen all of his movies.
Well, this movie was directed by Charles Shire. It was written by Nancy Meyers. Those two were married at the time of this movie. Nancy Meyers, obviously, kind of queen of the rom-com, up there with Nora Ephron. And Nancy Meyers is really famous for having just awesome production and awesome houses. Megan, what did you think of the house, the kitchen, the bathrooms in Father of the Bride?
I mean, it was beautiful. It was very early 90s, light wood, lots of pale blue in the clothing and the kitchen and
They're
the,
like,
the walls.
our small little house, and then they have a big enough backyard to have a literal wedding in. Their house is like giant. They're like, oh, it's just our little house.
Well, I mean, like compared to the whatever the rich town was called. What was it called?
I don't remember.
I don't remember where they went to the other people's house, who had the mansion. Yeah, that was in Bel Air.
Yeah. So, but I think they were comparing to the Bel Air house, Max.
That house was giant. It was interesting though because Nancy Meyers, would go on to have just these immaculate kitchens and food spreads, and I think almost kick off the Instagram obsession with home goods.
Oh yeah,
she was very influential there. But in this movie, her husband was the director, and it feels like she maybe didn't have as much control over that. So I would say it was a gorgeous house, but it wasn't kind of picture perfect like some of her later films, like Something's Gotta Give. It's complicated. Those movies were just insane houses right on the water, just ridiculous homes. This felt pretty realistic, I think.
it felt like a real house. Like
yeah.
people actually lived in it, even though I think probably today that house would cost $10 or $12 million, but still.
Yeah. It was the 90s, man.
It was the 90s. We were talking about Kimberly Williams. This was her very first movie role. Also, did you know she was from Rye? I learned that
Ooh.
today. How about that, right?
Nice.
Right down the street. Pretty cool. I don't know. This is a big boomer movie. What did you guys watch this a lot as a family when you were growing up, Megan?
I definitely watched it a few times.
I know your dad had some thoughts on the movie here. Can we?
Well, I wanted to ask him because he actually was a father of the bride, and neither of us will ever be. So I asked him what he thought of the movie.
And
he thought he had a vote in who she's going to marry. That's not allowed. The fact of the matter is, all he has to do is ask one question: how much do I make the check out for?
I think the big difference between Joseph Keane and George Banks is that my dad has 3 daughters, so I think he knew to just step out of the way when he's been well trained by my mom.
And he was definitely more smarter than the dad in the movie, because that dad, no offense to him, but he was really stupid.
Oh no!
I mean, he did
fall
own an
into a
entire
pool.
business.
He did fall into a pool. Yeah.
So I don't think you can necessarily call him
I
stupid.
know, but it was shoes. It's
That
not
was
like
one
he
thing
had
I did not
clothes.
remember first time watching this, that he had a whole knockoff sneaker business.
they weren't knockoffs. They were good shoes. They were well made. I don't know. And
Well, there was
he
definitely
did
a
well
knockoff
enough. He did well
theme.
enough to be able to afford 500 people in his house at $250 a head, which in today's money, that would be a wedding that costs over $300,000.
Yeah, I mean, when even today, trying to figure out what you spend $250 on a head at a wedding where it's in your home, it still seems pretty high.
Swans.
Swans, yeah.
Swans are really expensive. I don't know. Was there any other
You don't
thing?
really charge by the head for a swan, though, right?
Was there anything else, Megan, that you wanted to say about Father of the Bride?
I thought it held up really well. I'm curious to see what the boys think.
Well, I have
liked
one
it.
last comment. It was really weird how the groom of the daughter was calling the dad, the main character dad, his dad, but it was really his father-in-law.
That
is
was
something
awkward,
people
right?
do.
Oh, hello, father-in-law.
The other thing that I accidentally did was pick another Culkin movie. So now every episode we've done, there's been a Culkin. The first two are Macaulay Culkin, and now we've got Kieran Culkin, who was pretty great in this film.
And he was 9 years old, just like Zach.
I'll be driving when I'm 10.
Well, okay. So, Zach, on your patented scale of Zach's, how would this movie do?
3.5 out of 10. I mean, out of 5.
3.5 out of 5 Zach's. Pretty good. Max, how about you?
I'd give it like a 8 out of 10, like slightly higher than Three Amigos.
Ooh, exciting.
Three amigos.
Oh, amigos. That was great. Thank you. Great pick with Father and Bride. Again, I hadn't seen that one in a really long time. Absolutely check it out. It's currently streaming on Disney Plus. If you're a Disney Plus subscriber, be sure to watch that. Three Amigos. Did we watch it on the Roku channel? Is that where we watched it? I think it was on the Roku channel. So that's also available to stream for free. But that wraps up our Steve Martin short episode of Back in My Day, episode 3. We just want to make sure to do a couple things here before we sign off. We want to thank everybody here at LMC Media. We want to thank producer Astrid, producer Michael. Thank you guys. You're doing an awesome job. Really appreciate your support. Please remember to check out our podcast. Our website is backinmydaypod.com. You can email us at hello@backinmydaypod.com. You can get us on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on Apple, anywhere you get podcasts. Remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends, leave comments. We want to hear, we want to get your feedback.
We would love your feedback.
We'd love your feedback. Yes, Zach.
Let's leave a little time for the Amigo salute.
Well, until next time, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you in February with 2 fresh choices from Back in My Day. Thank you.